Hello, fellow cyborgs, and welcome to another Poetry Tuesday. You haven't had one of these in a year, so if you don't know what they are, it's where I talk to you about poetry on Tuesdays. Today I'm going to talk to you about the collected lyrics of Edna St. Vincent Millay, which I read in 2018. I eventually picked up this adorable little paperback because I took a class on modernist poetry when I was at university for no reason. And I ended up writing a term paper about Edna St. Vincent Millay and was interested in reading more of her poetry and then waited 5 years to do so. So she was writing poetry in the early 20th century, and I think she had a pretty interesting, some say maybe scandalous, if I remember correctly, lifestyle. But again, I don't actually know. I did not even look up the Wikipedia. Maybe I'll just leave this in and you can judge me for it. So I really enjoy this collection. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars, which it doesn't happen a lot with poetry collections, but when it does, it's so good. A lot of her poems in here have to do with nature as divine and celebrating nature as being close to godliness. Also, there are quite a number of bummer poems in here, which I personally liked because I'm an emo kid, that deal with grief and death and heartbreak. There are quite a number of longer narrative poems in here which tell a story over the course of a few pages in verse, and those were actually some of my favorites, but I'm not going to read you one of those today because I think that would just be a little too much. I am, however, going to read you 2 short poems from her first poetry collection, whose title was, I think it's Renaissance? I, again, did not even look up how to say that. So anyway, I'm going to start by reading you the poem called Tavern. I'll keep a little tavern below the high hill's crest, wherein all gray-eyed people may sit them down and rest. There shall be plates aplenty and mugs to melt the chill of all the gray-eyed people who happen up the hill. Their sound will sleep the traveler and dream his journey's end, but I will rouse at midnight the falling fire to tend. Aye, 'tis a curious fancy, but all the good I know was taught me out of 2 gray eyes a long time ago. And this one, a little bit more emo, Ashes of Life. Love has gone and left me, and the days are all alike. Eat I must, and sleep I will, and would that night was here. But, to lie awake and hear the slow hours strike, would that it were day again, with twilight near. Love has gone and left me, and I don't know what to do. This or that or what you will is all the same to me, but all the things that I begin, I leave before I'm through. There's little use in anything, as far as I can see. Love has gone and left me, and the neighbors knock and borrow, and life goes on forever like the gnawing of a mouse, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, there's this little street and this little house. So I hope that gave you a little bit of the flavor of Edna St. Vincent Millay's poetry. I definitely really enjoyed them. There were quite a number in here that I put little dots next to because I enjoyed them so much, and one even made me cry and made me think I might use it in the event of having to give a eulogy, which will probably happen sometime in my life, but don't think about it. So I hope this video has convinced you to try reading some poems by Edna St. Vincent Millay, or even poetry in general, because it can be really awesome, even though sometimes it can be really confusing. So let me know in the comments down below if you have read any Edna St. Vincent Millay, and feel free to correct me about the smidge of potentially incorrect biographical information I gave you about her. Thank you for watching, and until next time, continue to be lovely. I'll keep a little tavern below the hill. Ugh, messed up already.